everybody, and welcome back to G4G, Games for Gamers. Today, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the PvP season and take a look at a few other items here on Marvel Avengers Alliance. So, PvP Season 16 is coming to a close. Right now, we have about 24 hours or so left, a little bit more. And I just wanted to discuss some of the teams that I ran on offense and defense and some of the teams that we saw around the meta. Well, for offense, I started off the season with Pepsi Can and Rocket Raccoon. My agent was running the Power Cell, the Obliterator, the Synthetic Cube, and the Tankard. The reason why I was running that is because the Tankard was giving Rocket Raccoon critical strikes, it was giving Pepsi Can an extra turn, my agent an extra turn, and the Obliterator and Pepsi Can's 21 gun salute was setting up Rocket Raccoon for multiple extra attacks. And of course, at the time he had the radiation ISO that said that his level 1 would apply radiation, so everything was nice and energy based. And he was jumping. Oh, he also ran Skull Thumper, so he was jumping in on a lot of attacks, potential to cause stuns. He was causing radiation, which was going along with Iron Patriot, aka the Pepsi Can. So, shortly into the season, I mean, it was going for a little bit, but it was still fairly towards the beginning of the season, the Tankard took a nerf, and Rocket Raccoon took a nerf. He didn't jump in every single time. And the Tankard was not really applying its bonus to people outside of the Agent and the Warriors 3. Now, it said that it was fixed, but it continued the way that it was going for a little while, and then, of course, it stopped. Well, from there, I took Rocket Raccoon out, gave the Skull Thumper ISO over to Havoc, and I slapped Havoc in there. Now, the benefit of that was I was exhausting a lot of enemy teams, which really is a fantastic debuff, because enemy Iron Patriots could not overcharge. And a lot of times, the enemy Iron Patriot would sit there and would overcharge while it was exhausted, and because it would do that, it would be stunned the next round. So that really delayed the 21 gun salute. I changed it up after running that for a few weeks, and we'll get to that, but what was the highlight of Havoc and Pepsi Can? And that was just the fact there was a lot of energy damage, and I was just setting up the enemy teams for failures with Havoc, and just outright destruction with my own Iron Patriot. I could basically sweep a team off the planet most times, but I've discovered that my hero bonuses are a little bit lower than they should be for where I am. And it was going up against teams that were geared up better than me, and that was making it a little bit harder for Pepsi to sweep. And I was running into a lot of Psylocke teams, which meant I had a lot of enemy infiltrators. So using Pepsi was getting a little bit risky. So what I did to compensate is I took the Obliterator out and I moved the Sonic gun into its spot. Little less damage, however it was still energy, but it caused AoE exhausted and AoE generalized, which is phenomenal. And it really helped the team, but I still had some of my issues, so I decided to go ahead and swap it up just a little bit. And I'm now finishing the season with a team that is doing phenomenally well, and surprisingly well. For what I was going up against, you would see a lot of purples here in the tactician area, so the other teams had some good health, and a lot of high-level blasters. As you can see, I've got everybody that I need, and most people are kind of slotted into the hero alt that they should be. I do have my Quicksilver still as a generalist. I don't have his Scrapper uniform, but for the most part, people are where they should be. But these levels should be higher. And I'll be definitely working on that prior to the next season. So, what is the team that I'm finishing the season with? Well, before we get to this discussion, Uncanny Psych and Beast with Thorny, Signpost, Hotshot, and the Cube really have been locking it down on defense. I don't know why these guys have survived for 2 seasons. Last season I had Grief over here, and now I have the Cube, but um, my god. See, and it would be stupid for me to run the Mystic over here because my own Pestilence would undo the Mystic. So the Synthetic Cube is a help. My bet is in the first round I go Thorny, Signpost, Hotshot, and then it's probably Thorny, Blackest Void. So having the Blackest Void probably not go out in the first round is good, as it allows the offending team to probably get their buffs going, and then suddenly it's removed. When this goes early, it's only really good for removing Mystic Shroud, which Beast does, so that's what my guess is going on. Uncanny Psych is probably hitting combat expertise, and then either punching somebody or flanking them. Anything he does is probably good. And Pestilence, we know he puts out his Plague and either goes for Jekyll and Hyde if he finds attrition, or he goes for his level 1. These guys have, they've been doing it okay. I log in some days to a negative 50, but I log in some days to a plus 33. This one over here, I forget where it was that I ended up. I believe last night I went to bed at this 1352, and I came back to the 1386. So there was like the plus 33 or something that I had. So they're doing well. Now the offensive team over here is Team Arclock. It is Uncanny, X-Force, Angel, Scrapper version, and the X-Force, Uncanny X-Force, Psylocke Tactician version. She is using Snappy Service, the Agent is using Snappy Service, and Angel, unfortunately, at level 12, does not have a slot, but he is running his AoE Nanoplague A ISO. Now, people have considered Archangel to be one of the worst alt suits ever. However, with Uncanny X-Force and his ISO, he has turned into being a phenomenal person in my hands. I wouldn't run these guys on defense, but my typical first round is, if I haven't taken damage, I go the Neuro Purge, and then I go the Blackest Void. If I've taken damage, I run the Staff of Asclepios, the Neuro Purge, the Blackest Void. If the Mystic Shroud is up, I may hold this, may use it, but I go to the Blackest Void. Psylocke does Mental Coordination. If somebody's hurt, she'll place the shield on them. If not, she'll look for a blaster. If there's no blaster around, I go for whatever threat I want to get out of there, and then hopefully Mental Coordination procs, which, to be honest, has been mild. Whenever Angel goes around, he tends to open up with his AoE Nanoplague. If there is an enemy infiltrator, he might do his level 6, which will follow up with his level 1. So there's his ISOs. He's fully kitted out. One more level and he'll get an ISO over here. What would I run? I would probably use the one that increases Scrapper attacks. And then at 14, as somebody on the wiki had pointed out, Famine is energy. So honestly, the ionizing ISO would be really good here, because it's just another debuff. So if it's an infiltrator, it goes Famine War. AoE Nanoplague is great because it really shuts down some important buffs for the enemy team. And he provides Death, or Fatal Blow, on the level 4 for him and Psylocke. So Psychic Knives, which is already pretty strong, gains Fatal Blow. And his Death, of course, is a Fatal Blow. If the enemy team starts off with shield, Psylocke just goes right through them, which is nice. And that's pretty much how this team runs. It's just him keeping up Nanoplague to shut down enemy buffs. Everybody here except for my agent is stealthy because of Psylocke. And if there is a Iron Fist, I go whoever is lowest gets the Despair so they can't heal. So these guys have done really well. And it's kind of hard to shut them down. I've even won 2 versus 3 with a man down thanks to enemy coordination knocking somebody out. And I've noticed Quicksilver seems to go for Angel a lot. I don't know why, but if he's gonna not AoE and just go with blinding punches, he tends to go 1-2 on Angel, which gets him low. But thanks to the staff of Asclepios, when somebody dies, Angel is pretty much at full health. His Eschaton over here is phenomenally boosted by what the agent is providing over here. So my agent provides a lot of support, and he's running Mystic to prevent opening stuns, shut down enemy cubes, shut down enemy Iron Patriots. I held an Iron Patriot in check last night just by spamming Mystic at him, and the only thing he could do was Blade Punch. It was great. So 1378, I'm at about the 1400 border, not really going for Drax over here. I maybe could make the big push tomorrow, but whatever. The suit will be nice. I would like simply the Vibra finish just for paper, but the suit will be okay. I'll probably continue to use the agent. So let's take a look at the Spec Ops and the chapters that we've got available. There's just a lot going on right now. So we have Chapter 6 for Season 2. And I just have to get a few more challenge modes over here and a few more quests. For the quests, I just need to work on Dark Hawkeye's score, which I haven't even attempted yet, and Mephisto, which I haven't attempted yet, so I haven't really had any failures over there. And in terms of the rewards for the chapter, we have Serpentine, which is the Serpentine staff. It exploits opportunity, and it does Intimidate it, but it has a 2-round cooldown, so it's decent. We have Skrin, the Breaker of Men, which is a scrapper and bruiser version of She-Hulk. All enemies gain pain every turn. Chance to apply an Opportunist after an enemy attack. And she's Worthy, which is basically Asgardian. She's immune to burning, chill, poison, radiation, and fear, so she might be a decent Pepsi counter, or a way of getting that kind of protection without having to run as Guardians. If we look at our rewards, we have the Cracked Energy Band, which absorbs energy. For the Kang one, we have the Acceleration Shield. For the Hawkeye one, we have the Marksman Patch. For the Mephisto one, we have the Demonic Penis Dagger, which I've picked up. Over here, we have the torch from Aliens 3. It's the torches that they light when they're laying down the explosive stuff out in the air vents and everything. And for the Lizard one, fourth wall, we have the Subtle Gun, which I think is called like the Fancy Gun or something in the Challenge Mode version or something like that. The Laprov, which I actually think the Challenge Mode version of Laprov is pretty solid if I remember right. And of course, Serpentine Staff. Now let's go ahead and move over to the Spec Ops, which is a short season Spec Ops, because they probably want to get this done by the time that the Guardians of the Galaxy one comes up. We have Sinister, Mystique, and Sebastian Shaw. The reward is Cannonball, and the lockbox here is Avalanche. So let's take a look at some of these. We have the Devitalizer from the Sinister mission. Manipulated suppresses most effects that prevent or remove debuffs. So with the soak scroll, as I've said in another video, in this, it's sort of like carrying Beast without carrying Beast, but it has a 3-round cooldown. It's a lot. But, and it's only one enemy, so it's not bad. Not great. We'll see if it makes an appearance. Over here we have Bastion as the epic boss, and of course he is the group boss. He comes in all flavors. We have Mark of the Brotherhood, which is buff, so Snappy Service will make that a quick action. And Calculated Response, which is one of the integrated intelligence set. Oh, excuse me, a little tired. And over here for the Sebastian Shaw one, we have the Old Ebony. 1 round, it's buff, fortified, and dignified protector. So let's go ahead and take a look at the heroes available. I've got 2 covers down so far. We have Cannonball, Marvel Now's version of Cannonball. I gotta admit, looks pretty cool. Like his outfit, like the design in the middle over here. Blast Off, 20% chance to dodge an enemy attack, and he's immune to ground attacks. Last Man Standing, increases accuracy, attack, defense, and evasion when an ally is KO'd. Interesting. Coming Through, exploits shields, high crits, expanded field. While kinetic field is active, this action gains shield slam, and it consumes the kinetic field. And it causes Shield Breaker. It's an unarmed melee kinetic. Here is his kinetic field. It's a 3-round cooldown. It is not a quick action unless running with Miss Marvel. Cry Uncle. While kinetic field is active, this action is replaced with Nothing's Impossible, which is this. Did the others change? No, I don't think the others change. Okay. So, Brutal Strike, Deadly Crits, Finest Hour, Matter of Perspective. While Kinetic Shield is inactive, this action is replaced with Kinetic Field. This action consumes Kinetic Field. Knocking out an enemy with this attack grants a Kinetic Field. So, interesting over there. It's a Brutal Strike, but not a Fatal Blow. So it's a zombie killer, but it's not the distance put away. It's unarmed melee kinetic. So it's going to be interesting to see how much he can maintain his kinetic field. He has Crash Landing, which is a ground attack, which is a little odd for a flyer. Crash Course, when it's active, you gain Breakthrough. All enemies are winded, all enemies are off balance, and all enemies are exhausted. So this is a fantastic debuff right there. No follow-ups, so goodbye infiltrators. No counterattacks. Excuse me, I always reverse those. No scrappers, no infiltrators from off balance, and, much like Havoc, no extra attack for tacticians. So that's... he could make a nice appearance in PvP because Exhausted's great. Exhausted shuts down a whole bunch of agents. I mean, Snappy Service goes out the window with that, which is nice. And Cleared for Takeoff. 2-round cooldown. Applies Melt Armor and grants an extra turn on Afterburner. So, it's a little bit like Rescue. Hopefully in PvP we'll see him leading with this, and then who knows what he'll be doing from there. So there he is. I think he's pretty cool. I like his sprite. Avalanche has got his classic enemy sprite. Making Waves grants an increasing damage buff whenever an ally uses a sonic or ground attack. So could pair up nicely over here with Crash Landing. Luke Cage could be nice over here. We'll see what synergy you might have over there. Ally sonic and ground attacks have a 50% chance to create falling debris. So that really kind of rolls in nice with Luke Cage. And, you know, Scrapper, that's not too big of a weakness to run. So, his level 1 Fault Line, ground attack. Ignores most protect and avoidance effects, and it's an opportunist one. So there's been a lot of opportunity ones lately. The revamp to Spider-Man, Anti-Venom, the Serpentine Stab. I mean, there seems to be a lot going on with opportunists. So he's got synergy with a lot of people like Hank Pym, the new Spider-Mans, Anti-Venom, Wasp, stuff like that. Shockwave. One enemy, sonic in range, catastrophic, and resonating. So we've seen that like on the swords from the hybrid, Spec Ops, and everything like that. Removes a beneficial status effect from the target and prevents the next one from being applied. Epicenter, all enemies, 2-round cooldown, sonic buff and debuff. So this would, well, it is a quick action already, but all enemies are generalized, all enemies are exhausted. All allies have feedback, so that's just like the Sonic Fist. So I wonder if that will help if you get attacked and you retaliate with a sonic attack. I wonder if that helps Sky is Falling. This one is really, really neat. So we have another exhausted to go with Cannonball, to go with Havoc, to go with some of the agent gear, but an AoE generalized, a 2-round AoE generalized. This guy is a mega shutdown, because now his one weakness, Bruisers, no more enrage for them. So that's phenomenal. Phenomenal attack right there. And then there's the big one. All enemies, a 1-round cooldown, so it's up every turn. It's a ground attack. It exploits opportunity. High crits and seismic. Consumes all stacks of seismic activity to deal extra damage. Now I wonder where, it doesn't really mention that he gets seismic activity like that. But, so, these two guys will have some synergy. You'll probably have some synergy with Pym, potentially Luke Cage, Captain Britain. That's another one he might go well with. Now, since this is a ground Sonic, none of these are melee, so he doesn't have the biggest amount of synergy with Luke Cage, unfortunately. If this was like a melee attack or something, it'd be cool, because maybe you could run a Dragon's Foot. Unfortunately, he's not. So let's take a look at Black Bolt with him, because he's the only other guy who's really running Sonic. He's a flyer, but he doesn't have ground attacks. He has melee unarmed over here, causes an off balance, so he shuts down infiltrators, royal flight, which of course is decreased speed, and the ambient particles, whisper, which is a lovely attack when he builds up to it. It's catastrophic, incapacitation, and it's a buff blocker, but only 40% chance. And then we have Power Word, which is 3 rounds, so this is coming up when the cube would be up, but this is a Sonic, this is a Sonic. You don't have the most amount of Sonic stuff out there. Now, the Agent has got a nice little piece of, this is some of my Bastion gear over here. If we go and type in SON over here, for some reason it's not letting me type. Okay, well, we'll just tab over the old way. Somewhere, there it is, the Sonic Blaster. All enemies, ranged energy tech, Sonic Blast, generalized, neutralized, and exhausted. So if you run this with the power cell, everybody's generalized, everybody's exhausted, so that's a lot like Avalanche over here. Pretty cool. So there we go. There's a wrap-up of PvP Season 16, introduction to the Spec Ops over here. So what have we seen in this PvP season? Well, Beast has been around a little bit. Iron Fist has been around quite a bit for Combo Breaker, although in the last half a week, though, his Combo Breaker hasn't done anything. I haven't seen a proc at all. Rafshank has been around. Cube has obviously been around. Mystic has been around. 50-50, maybe a 30%, 70% chance for it to be up. I haven't seen it make that big of an impact. There's been some Pepsis, a beast every now and then. Uh, Deadpool seems to have slacked off a little bit in this season, even with the new suit. There's been a lot of Psylocks, there's been a lot of Quicksilvers, there's been a lot of Quick Locks, there's been a few Quick Jugs. There hasn't been too many Quick Magnetos, thank God. I hate Magneto. Um, that's kind of what I've been seeing. I really haven't seen an Angel. I see a lot of rogues. Haven't seen too many X-23s. I've seen a team that runs a Fandral Pestilence. That one's a little annoying. There is a... Yeah, that team actually kind of beats me a little bit. Haven't seen too many full-on Warrior 3s. They don't bother me too much thanks to my AoE Nano Plague, and then I could use the Despair. Iron Fist healing Chi has been really annoying. He definitely will hit the weakest person on the team with a sizable heal. I've seen a few Phoenix 5 Emmas, not too many Uncanny Psychs, not too many Hulks and Warbringer Hulks and Grey Hulks, no Moonstones, no Thanes. Guy, I don't think I maybe seen one Doom all season there, so he's really faded out. It's just been a lot of teams based off of Quicksilver, Quicksilver Fist, Quicksilver Rogue. Uh, that's at least 85% of my battles there, and hoping to use Sunday and Monday to stay ahead of the flood and not dip down below Diamond. I really should be able to stay on top of it. So, take care, everybody, and hope you enjoyed this video here on G4G Games for Gamers.